Hey, we've all been there. It's tough being the little guy, right? That is, unless you can shrink or grow at will. Welcome to Listbait from the Best Flarking Network. For this episode of Listbait, we are looking at size shifters, who are characters who can alter their size at will. We will be excluding any characters who cannot fundamentally change their matter. Sorry, Mystique and Morph, but you guys have to sit this one out. Let's get to it. Number 10, Jake the Dog, Adventure Time. It's been said that dogs are man's best friend, and there has never been a bester friend than Jake the Dog. Jake is one half of the adventure in Adventure Time, roaming the land of Ooh with his best buddy and adopted brother Finn the Human. He's referred to by the denizens of Ooh as a magical dog, meaning Jake is imbued with stretchy powers, which allows him to change his body into all sorts of fantastic shapes, as well as grow to great height and mass. Or, if he's tired, to shrink down and take a nap in Finn's shirt pocket. I wonder if his powers were what make him look so young for being 28 in magical dog years. Huh. Number 9, DOLLMAN, DC Comics.
His name is DOLLMAN?
Daryl Dane the DOLLMAN got his start all the way back in December of 1939. He is the original size-shifting hero. This Golden Age hero has all the tropes that all of our favorite shrinky growers have. He can shrink down from his normal size to 6 inches tall and retain his full size strength. He's a brilliant scientist. The one thing that sets him apart from the other traditional size shifters in this list is that he has psionic abilities, allowing him to levitate objects or destroy them with what he calls mental blasts. On top of all that, he's like the longest lasting size shifter we've ever seen, starting in 1939 and having a series started most recently in 2012. That's 73 years. Number 8, Colossal Boy, DC Comics. Due to the staggering number of reboots for this character, we're going to go ahead and cherry pick the one we like the best, and that is his Earth Prime reboot. So here we go. Jim Allen is a member of DC Comics' Legion of Superheroes using the name Colossal Boy, Leviathan, and Micro Lad. In this third reboot of his character, Jim is born of Earth, but he is not a human being. He is actually a giant with a genetic defect which allows him to shrink down to 6 feet tall and live amongst the humans. He's the only shifter on this list whose natural form is his giant state. In that giant state, he has superhuman strength, and on top of which, he's a master of gadgets and hand-to-hand combat. Talk about a colossal boy, right? I'll let myself out. Number 7, Super Mario Brothers franchise. That's right, everyone's favorite Italian plumber is a size shifter. No, he doesn't get his powers from particles or dead stars. He gets his big on from eating fungus. The titular hero of the Mario franchise starts off as a teeny little micro plumber until snatching up a mushroom and growing to roughly 3 times his starting size. Although his giant size is the most fragile on our list because one touch from a bad guy that isn't on Mario's buns sends him right back down to Micro Town. Number 6, Hank Pym. The original Ant-Man, inventor of the Pym particle, notoriously paranoid, ill-tempered, constantly changing his name, and Earth scientist supreme, sometimes. Hank uses a specialized suit with a gaseous version of the Pym particle in the belt that allows him to shrink to subatomic levels, as well as grow to gigantic size. On top of all of that, he is a founding member of the Avengers, the dude who created Ultron, sorry Tony, and depending on who you ask, the 4th smartest man in the whole Marvel universe. Now if we could get him to shrink his gigantic inferiority complex, we'd be in business. Number 5, the Wasp. Janet Van Dyne was the daughter of famous scientist Vernon Van Dyne. When her father was killed by an alien, like you do, she turned to her father's associate Hank Pym to get revenge on that damned alien. To do this, Janet underwent a biochemical process that infused her genetic material with Pym particles, giving her the ability to shrink and grow similar to the Ant-Man. In addition to the size shifting, Janet can fly by growing wings whenever she shrinks below 4 feet in size. Janet is also a founding member of the Avengers and was often looked at as the weak link in the early days of the team before truly coming into her own, cementing her place as one of the greatest Avengers of all time, single-handedly taking on Ultron and showing up Hank on a lot of occasions, which led to a lot of problems with them. Number 4, Stature. Young Avengers member Cassie Lang is the all-grown-up version of Scott Lang's daughter. Idolizing her father and his life as the Avenger Ant-Man, Cassie was enamored with superhero life despite her mother's attempts to keep her from it. When Scott is tragically killed, she decides to do what any good child would do and take up the mantle of her father, renaming herself STATURE, worst name ever, and joining up with the Junior Avengers team, the Young Avengers. Cassie has rumbled with the biggest and baddest of the Marvel Universe, going toe-to-toe with Dr. Doom, defeating the Latvarian tyrant and saving the Avengers from certain doom, giving her life in the process. Through the mystical, magical world of comics, Cassie has in fact been resurrected and currently fights crime under the alias Stinger, with a suit that looks much more like her father's. Way better name than Stature. Number 3, The Atom, DC Comics. Ray Palmer is the second genius turned shrinking superhero of the DC universe, but he is first in our hearts. Ray's power comes from a white dwarf star that he has contained in his suit's belt buckle. I don't know what it is about these guys in belt buckles. This star grants Ray 100% control of his body on a molecular level, allowing him to do some of the most amazing stuff we've ever seen from a size shifter, such as riding a telephone call to the call's destination, reducing his mass so he can glide through the air simulating flight, and of course the most badass, shrinking down into Superman's blood, rearranging his molecules to create kryptonite inside of Superman's body. That's a frickin' boss move right there. Number 2, The Ant-Man, Scott Lang, Marvel Comics. Scott Lang is the second man to wear the Ant-Man costume, and he did it without changing his name 50 times, Hank. Scott is by far the most relatable of all the size shifters on the list because 1, he isn't a billionaire super genius whose only goal in life is to fight crime. No, Scott is a down on his luck father who is just doing the best that he can to make sure he can provide for his daughter. That alone makes him the best of the Ant family easy. Stack on top of that he's an electronics expert, that he owns Ant-Man Security Solutions where he rehabs supervillains by giving them legit work in the security industry, and that one time he shrunk down into Cassie's bloodstream to fight off her white blood cells, so that way her heart transplant would be a 100% success. Scott is Father of the Year and an easy choice for number 2 on this list. Before we get to number 1, we wanted to show you some cool size shifters that we really liked but just couldn't put on the list. So here is our honorable mentions. Number 1, Apocalypse, Marvel Comics. En Sabah Nur is the very first mutant, and boy, oh boy, what a mutant he is. With a power set so vast, you'd almost forget he's a size shifter at all. With powers like immortality, energy manipulation, technopathy, telekinesis, and telepathy, it's easy to see why you'd forget about him being a size shifter, right? Yeah. The Son of the Morning Fire often changes size in battle, going from his standard 7 feet tall to 50 plus feet in height. Apocalypse is a ruthless tyrant who thinks himself a god and wants to reshape the world in his image. He has battled every major superhero and every major supervillain in the Marvel Universe, with a great degree of success, I might add. So when it comes down to pure power and being a size shifter, it's a hard argument to say anyone other than the Forever Walker. Our number 1 choice is Apocalypse. Alright, and that's going to do it for us on this episode of Listbait. Did you agree with our list? Who is your favorite Tiny Titan? For more Listbait and our other shows, make sure you subscribe to the best Flarking network on YouTube. We'll see you next time.